And most of your stress is because you're thinking about too many things at once. In fact, when people don't do things, it's not because they can't. It's not even because they don't want to. It's because of the way they are focusing on what I call chunking things. When people don't follow through, here's what they do. I'll give you an example. Who here believes exercise is very important, but you don't exercise regularly? Let me see a show of hands. Raise your hand. More hands than most of us want to raise our hand, right? Now, who here really focuses, or I should say exercises regularly? Raise your hand. Regularly. Okay, great. Who here does not exercise regularly even though you believe it's important? Just be truthful. Okay, great. So let's see what the difference is here. A person who does not exercise regularly, I want you to raise your hand and I want you to tell me why you don't exercise regularly. Be truthful. Okay? Yes, sir. I don't have the time. Now, is that true? He even knows it's not true. He's going to answer you first. No. But it feels like he doesn't have the time because time is emotion. And he's got so many other things he is focused on getting results in that adding this to the list seems like a lot, right? And the other things are very important to him, like his business. I don't have the time. He has the time. What's the real reason he doesn't do it? Because of the way he thinks about exercise. When he focuses on what it would take to exercise, he does it very differently than someone who follows through. When you think about exercising, what's involved?
At the moment, about mile 14 of the London Marathon. Quite painful.
Okay, he starts thinking about, I got to get to mile 14 of the London Marathon, and that even the thought of trying to get to the 14th mile, much less the 25th mile, is like beyond my imagination right now. So he is what I call over-chunked. He's not thinking about what he wants, he's thinking about what's painful. You just saw a perfect example. He's not even thinking about victory or succeeding. So the chance of him following through on something that he associates major pain to, when he can do something else right now he can feel competent or successful at, his chances of following through are very limited. How many will follow that? Say I. His focus is on failure. His focus is on pain. That's why he isn't following through. Okay? He's also focused on the 14th mile of a marathon rather than today's workout. Which one seems more daunting to you? So when you think of what, and here's also what he's thinking about. He's thinking about the process, not the outcome or result he wants. And when you think about what it's going to take to do something, usually it takes a lot and you're not going to want to do it. So he's overchunked himself. He's trying to eat the whale whole without taking any smaller bites. And it seems too big for him, so he says, well, I'll do it when? Later. As my Australian friends would say, later. Right? And of course, the problem with doing it tomorrow is when you get to tomorrow, tomorrow is today, and tomorrow never comes. So, and you keep promising yourself. By the way, what does this do to you emotionally when you keep breaking your own promises with yourself? Or you keep failing to do things that you know are important? Does it increase your level of certainty and confidence? No. What it does is it erodes it. And when you erode confidence in one area, believe it or not, it affects the other areas too. Do you believe me on that? Don't believe me. What about your own life experience? Maybe not one area, but it starts to be multiple areas. It sure does. Another reason why somebody doesn't exercise or do anything is because they don't just chunk it too big, they chunk it in too many details. I'll give you a perfect example. So I asked somebody one time, I said, okay, how important is exercise? Oh, exercise is extremely important. Really? Okay, good. And tell me, why don't you exercise regularly? Well, I just don't have time. Okay, everybody gives that answer. That sounds wonderful. So tell me though, don't tell me about how much time you don't have. Tell me this. When you think about exercising, what do you think about? Which is a way of saying, what do you focus on? And so this woman says to me, well, my gosh, you know, I mean, what do you mean what do I think about? Well, let's say I said to you, you got to start exercising and I'm going to put a gun to the head of your children and I will do very horrible things and hurt them badly if you don't exercise. Could you do it? Oh yeah, I could do it. You know, if some mafia person came here and said, I'm going to kill your children if you don't exercise every day, how many think you could find a way to exercise every day, no matter what your time constraints may be? So remember this. Remember this. Change is never a matter of ability. It's always a matter of motivation. I'll say that again. Change is never a matter of ability. It's always a matter of motivation or drive, having strong enough reasons. If you got a strong enough reason, you could figure out the time, couldn't you? So the biggest part of life and time management is knowing what you want and having enough reasons to follow through. But there is one more piece. If you make enough reasons to follow through and you know what you want, but you make the task overwhelming, you'll be overwhelmed. So I said to her, forget what I said. Let's just say you're really going to start exercising. You're going to do it regularly. How would you do it? What's involved with exercising? What's involved with exercising? What do you focus? She goes, well, if I was going to work out regularly, I'd have to find a club to join. I said, okay, well, so then what? She goes, well, you want to know the whole process? Yes, tell me the whole process of what it would take to exercise. She goes, oh my God, I'd have to get on the web and search for like all the exercise places around my home. And then I have to look through those and see which one is probably closest or which one is, probably nicest. And I don't really know, so I probably have to search on the web and like read about each of them and get a sense and see the pictures of the place. But of course, it's never the way they really show it to you. They always show you the best pictures. It's not really that nice. So then I have to get in my car and I got to find these places. So, I have to Google the location and look it up. And then I drive there. And, a lot of times the instructions are wrong on Google. So sure enough, I get the place that's not even the right place. And then I have to call the place on my cell phone. Then after I call the place, I got to write down the directions. Of course, I probably don't have a pen. I mean, you know how it is when you're driving. And so finally I get a pen, I draw down the directions, or try to remember in my mind, and I get to the place, and now I got to get a ticket. You know how you get that ticket, and then I got to go find a parking space. And then I find the parking space, and what do I got to do? Now I got to go into this place. And when you go in the place, you can't just go look around. They want to escort you, don't they? Some salesperson wants to escort me, so I got to go with the salesperson. They walk me around, they show me the locker room, and they show me this, and they show me that, and they show me all the stuff. And then let's say I want to even buy it here. I can't just give my credit card. They want me to fill out a little application. Like I'm 2 years old again. I'm in high school. Oh, come on, give me a break. And then I fill out the application, and I got to pay them, and then they want to sell me a 10 million year membership, and I just want to try this for 6 months. And then after all that, then they want to take a picture that looks worse when you take it than your driver's license. Plus, after that, now what I do? Now I got to flash the card, go into work out. And what I got to do work out? I got to take off all my clothes, and I got to hang them up in this tiny little locker where my stuff doesn't really fit, and it's going to get wrinkled, and I know it's going to fall off, and it's going to get wrinkled. It's going to be terrible. And so let's say now I do that, and so I go to the first station. I got to figure out which station to go to, so now they probably want to give me some trainer who's going to tell me what to do. But let's say I do it on my own. I go to the first station, somebody's sitting, some sweaty, smelly person who gets up and they got sweat all over. So now I got to take my towel and I got to wipe it all off. And then I got to adjust the weight. And then I don't know what the right weight is. I got to adjust it again and get the hassle, figure out how to adjust it. And then I finally do my exercise and then I got to wipe the thing off. And then I got to go find the second station and maybe there's somebody there. Maybe it's all sweaty and I don't know the numbers. And after I do all these ones, station after station after station after station, now I got to go to the locker room and take off my sweaty clothes, which I'm going to put in a bag, which I know is going to stink up my car. And then I got to go in and take a shower, and maybe I'll first do a steam room or something, but then I'm going to see body parts of other people I don't even want to see. And then I got to go and I got to do my hair and I got to do my makeup all over again. Got to start all over my makeup, do the whole thing and all these little pieces. And then I got to put on my now wrinkled clothes. And now I can't even just leave. I got to go to the front and I got to get my ticket stamped so I don't have to pay for it. Then I got to find my car, which I forgot where it is. And then I got to show it to the guy and then I drive out. That's what it takes to work out. Well, what does it take to eat? Just do it. What do you mean just do it? Well, I don't know. What kind you want? Italian. Okay, I know 12 places. Let's go. Well, what do you mean? See, eating is one chunk. Exercising is 3,229. Where every little step of what I got to do, I think about all the consequences and the elements and the pieces. And that's why they don't do it. They're over-chunked. What you focus on, you feel. What you feel, you are moved to somehow actuate. Hi, it's Tony Robbins again. Listen, people ask me all the time, if you really want to get lasting change, real results that stick around, what do you got to do? What are the most important things you've learned, Tony, in that area? And I tell people the most common thing people talk about is how they want to make a change in their life. But everybody wants a change, but nobody wants to work out. Everybody wants muscle, but nobody wants to train. See, one of the challenges that we have in our lives is we don't realize that the process of training ourselves, the process of conditioning ourselves actually feels incredible once you get that initial momentum. But most people don't. Why? Why do so many people say, well, I lost 100 pounds, the same 10 pounds 10 times, or they'll tell me, I'm on my fourth day without a cigarette, man, I'm doing really good. If you're counting the days, it's not lasting change. You're just counting the days you can tell people how long you lasted.
If you want lasting change, you've got to give up this idea of trying something. You got to decide you're going to commit to mastery. And when I say commit to mastery, what I mean by that is most people dabble. They talk about, well, I'd like to change my body. I'd like to make my relationship better. I'd like to have more passion there, but they don't know what to do. And even if they did, they don't have enough detail to be able to follow through. They haven't made the shifts in their own emotion and their psychology to follow through. And it isn't that difficult, but there is a path and it requires consistency. Think about it. Everybody overeats some of the time. Everybody gets angry or frustrated or sad or depressed some of the time. Your life is not controlled by what you do some of the time. It's what you do consistently. And here's the secret. Whatever you want to make better, you better make sure you measure it more often. Think about it. If you want to lose weight and you never look at a scale, that's how people find themselves 20, 30, 40, 50 pounds overweight, or even 10 or 15. Because it just kind of happens slowly and then all at once. What do businesses go out of business? Things are okay, and then all of a sudden they're in trouble overnight. It's not overnight. All of our success and failure in life comes from little decisions, little actions, little moments. Failure isn't an overnight event. It's failure to make the phone call. It's failure to say, I love you. It's failure to take care of your body. It's failure to invest some time in yourself so you keep growing and expanding and not just reacting to the world that's constantly demanding your attention. Success comes from doing the right things also, little things, saying I love you, taking the time for what matters most, your body, your mind, your spirit, your emotion, having a plan, and measuring your progress. That's the second thing we need. You got to commit to mastery, but you also really need to get yourself involved in what I call immersion coaching. Immersion coaching is as old as humanity. How have we passed on mastery of anything? Finances, crafts, ideas, business, politics. Usually you went to live with somebody, you went to work for somebody, you became an apprentice. And maybe decades or years or decades of your life, you'd commit time to be around that person day and night so you could see and feel all the little distinctions that make them so masterful at what they do. Today, people have no patience. We all want it right now, and people don't only not commit to mastery, but they rarely even find a real mentor or coach. They think they have all the answers, they try a few things, if it doesn't work, they run to something else. If you want a great jump in the quality of your life, an extraordinary jump in the quality of your life, you got to set yourself up to win. You got to set yourself up with a process that allows you to consistently grow, consistently enjoy your life, and consistently produce the results that you're really after. And I don't care what area of life you want to change, coaching is one of the most valuable tools in the world. A coach just has a different perspective. I mean, even back in those days, the best athletes in the days, the Gretzkys, the Michael Jordans, et cetera, they all had a coach. Still to this day, the best have coaches, because the coach can see what you can't see because you're in the force, they're outside of it. And I know as an athlete, I was better than some of my coaches, but they made me better. So I said, that's my job. I'm a coach. Because to me, a coach is not better. They're a friend. They're an equal. They're there for you. They're somebody who cares deeply about your well-being, but they're also incredibly skilled to help guide you at the moments you really need it. And so I started promoting this idea of being a coach. And, the sports metaphor helped some people, but the media didn't buy into it very much. But I was able to succeed finally because I was able to keep measuring these results. After years of calling myself a coach, and there was no coaching industry, nobody talked to themselves as coaches, I remember at one point I hit a point where I was about to give it up. And Larry King even said to me on air one time, he said, what is this? You're a coach. What does that mean? And I was trying to explain peak performance coaching and strategy and so forth. And right about that time, suddenly coaching became the term of art, and everybody was a coach. Therapists started calling themselves coaches. Financial planners became coaches. It just became the term of art. So it's been a fascinating journey watching that word come in, because what I did is I helped build that term by making it based on real results. We build on success, and that's part of our success coaching system, our immersion coaching system. The bottom line is I got such great results that pretty soon I was coaching Princess Diana, President Clinton, Andre Agassi, the LA Kings. It just grew and grew and grew. And today I'm very proud to say that I'm the most successful coach of our type in the world. What we do is different. Today, anybody can call themselves a coach. It's a joke. It's become a term of art for anything. Somebody can go to some class that somebody made up and be certified as a coach, but can they really produce measurable results for you? I have a system. And my system that I do for 7 figures one-on-one for an individual, I've now taught all of my coaches to facilitate. So, does coaching work? Gosh, regular training, all the research shows that if you want to increase productivity in yourself, in your life, or in a business, Overall training will increase productivity by 22%. Any ordinary training will do that. But if you take ordinary training and you attach to it personal coaching, studies show it increases by 88% of your productivity, meaning the results you get. The type of immersion coaching we do is a whole different level, and I'll tell you what the difference is. It's a combination of all the strategies that I've accumulated that are proprietary to myself and what I teach for the last 33 years. I mean, I've dealt now with 4 million people from literally 100 different countries. At this point, I have to be an idiot not to notice that there are certain patterns that make people successful and certain patterns that make people fail. Patterns that make people frustrated and angry and depressed, and patterns that make people feel passionate and alive and taking control of their life. And so I've put those together and I train my team in those. But the other part is when I started out, I was doing one-on-one work with people. And I loved that. It was incredible. But after a while, I saw, if I work with these people, a couple hours a month, maybe I'll get 20, 24 hours a year of coaching with them. It's fantastic. It's short. But if I could get them together for one weekend event, I could take group dynamics and learn from each other. And it could produce this energy like you have when you're an NBA final championship game or a football game or a great baseball game. And all of a sudden, you got energy, you got group dynamics, and I could do 50 hours in a weekend and make it like the time of people's lives where you have this explosion of progress. And so then I thought events were the answer. And how we've come to our current immersion program is I began to realize, wow, people get this huge jump in immersion with an event. And then having somebody one-on-one who knows you individually working with you and helping you to hold yourself to a standard. Again, measuring your progress, helping to guide you, and doing it, in a way that's very convenient. You don't have to travel. They're on the phone with you and they do it in the days that make sense for you, a couple times a month, and you're ready to rock and roll and go to a different level. So I began to combine those and then we added our products. So that's how we have our current immersion system. So here's my offer to you. If you're serious, if you're not kidding yourself, and you really want to improve your life in any area, for things to change, you've got to change. For you to get better, for things to get better, you've got to get better. It's in every one of us. And so what we have to do is have a system to do it. So take advantage of this immersion system, this results coaching system. This is a place where you can see your life really change because we've proven it over and over again. It has a money-back guarantee. Come to an event. And if you can't do that for starters, get yourself a coach and get yourself a product and focus on the areas you want to change, whether it be your body, your emotions, your relationships, your finances, your career, the way you master and manage your time, or just the experience of what is going to be meaningful and celebratory for you in this life. And one of the ways we can help you out, if you're just kind of interested, not sure, and whether you want to commit yet or not, or try this process out or not, we have an opportunity for you to have a free coaching session that there's no charge, will add value to your life. You'll get a chance to focus and see what are the areas I want to improve, why, what's the strategy that'll start to move you forward. I'm passionate about coaching, as you can tell. It's a part of my life and history. Coaches have made such a difference in my life. At certain times, they just gave me a little insight. I'm heading this direction, and they give me this little slight change where instead of heading here, I'm heading here. But you take that out a week from now, a month from now, 6 months from now, a year from now, you end up in a different destination, a different destiny. Little things mean everything, and coaches allow you not to miss those little things. They allow you to get consistent results. Drop in with us, test us out, have a chance of it, our immersion coaching. I know you'll be thrilled. And you can check on the website here and see results of all the clients I've dealt with, top CEOs, people in government, sports stars, or just average people who know that a consistent process of progress that's measured and that's fun and that's simple will get you from where you are to where you want to be. That's results coaching. That's our total immersion system, and that's our opportunity for you to test it out. All right? I hope that you'll give us a try and that you'll maybe drop me a note about the kind of impacts you have, or that I'll meet you at an event and you'll share with me the story of your results. That's one of my favorite things in life. Live strong and live with passion. And thanks for your time.
I remember a time early in my career, I was about 24, and I went to do a seminar in Boston. And in those days, a big seminar for me was like 125 people. And it was a 3-day seminar, and we worked around the clock, and people made such extraordinary changes in their life. And at the end of it, I was feeling so fulfilled. I was thinking, my God, I'm 24, maybe 25 at the time. And I am so happy because I have found my mission in life. I'm doing what I love. It's making a difference in people's lives. This is extraordinary. So we finished about midnight on the Sunday night. And around midnight, I'm still wound up, so I don't feel like going to bed. So I decided, okay, let me take a walk here, and I decided to go through Copley Square. If you've been through Copley Square, it's a pretty neat place. Because in Copley Square, you can look up and you can see buildings that were here before we were known as the United States, and beside them you see skyscrapers that are new. It's a pretty cool place. So I'm walking around midnight on Sunday night. There's nobody in Copley Square midnight on Sunday night. And I'm walking along, and I see this guy in the distance, and he's kind of stumbling back and forth between the gutter and the sidewalk. He's got a long trench coat on, his head's down like this. He's holding a brown bag, and I can start to smell him even before I get there, and I'm thinking, you know, this guy's obviously drunk. And as I started to get closer, I thought, I bet he's going to beg me for some money. And sure enough, whatever you focus on life tends to happen, doesn't it? So sure enough, he gets real close to me, and I thought all of a sudden he wasn't going to do it, and all of a sudden he popped his head up. It was really weird. He went, "Mister!" He had this really bizarre looking sounding voice. He went, "Mister, could you loan me a quarter?" And I thought, do I want to reward this behavior? And then I thought, I don't want him to suffer. Do you have this dilemma sometimes? Like, you know, I'm not here to judge. So years ago I finally decided I always just give. Even if the person's pulling a scam, that's for them to deal with. If I have the ability, then I give. And so I thought, but could I teach him something? So I asked him a question back. I said, is that all you want is a quarter? So he goes, yeah, just 1 quarter. 1 quarter changed my whole life. 1 quarter. I said, really? He said, yeah, 1 quarter. So I reached in my pocket, and I pulled out my money clip. And in those days, I was, you know, very young, just starting to succeed. And my original mentor was a man named Jim Rohn. I don't know, how many have heard of Jim Rohn? Anybody? Yeah, he's a great guy. And Jim told me, he said, Tony, look, you've come from a poor background. You got a poor psychology. You got to change it. He said, you don't have any money, so pretend you do. He said, start training your brain, condition it. He said, go save all your money, get $300 bills, and put them on the outside of your money clip, even though you only have $5 in between them. So every time you put it out, you'll see that, you'll feel inspired, you'll feel better. He said, and you'll feel better, you'll do better. So I was like, okay. So I did. So I pulled my money clip, and sure enough, I got $300 bills in. I made sure he saw the bills. So I'm tearing through that, right? Looking in between there to see if I can find some change. But I made sure he saw it. Sure enough, he's looking at the $100 bills, checking it out. I find the quarter, I pull it out, take the money, put it in my pocket. I notice he's watching my hand going into the pocket. I took the quarter, and I looked at him, and I said, sir, life will pay any price you ask of it. And I gave him the quarter. And then something really interesting happened. He took the quarter. He looked at the quarter. He looked at me. He looked at my pocket. He looked back at the quarter, looked at me, looked at my pocket, looked at me again, looked at the quarter, looked at my pocket, looked back at me and said, you're weird. And then he shuffled on off like this, right? And I thought to myself, wow, what's the difference between him and me? I mean, I was 24, 25 at the time, doing what I love most, have my mission in life, and he's in his early 60s, drunk on the street begging for quarters. What's the difference? And I thought, well, maybe God's blessed me because I'm such a good person. I thought, oh, and he's such a bad person, that's such bull. And I thought, wow, maybe the answer to that question is what I just told him. Life will pay whatever price you ask of it. But you know what's interesting? You got to ask intelligently. In the Bible it says, ask and you shall what? Yeah, pretty good formula. You ought to look into it. But you know what? It says, ask and you shall receive, but I'm sure it meant ask intelligently. I'm sure that's what God meant. I'm sure he didn't mean bitch and you will receive. Whine and you will receive. I don't think that was the instruction. Now, if you were going to ask intelligently, there might be 5 elements of that. Number 1, you'd have to ask specifically, wouldn't you? You wouldn't ask in a general way. People do that all the time. They go, I want more money. Fine, here's $1, get out of here. Very often you're getting what you're asking for. You're just not aware of how general you're asking. Clarity is power. The more clear you are about exactly what it is you want, the more your brain knows how to get there. Your brain is a servo mechanism. It's like a bomb. Those bombs, those missiles, they have a servo mechanism. So if the target moves, it knows what the target is, it follows it. Your brain, when you condition it, knows exactly what to go for and it'll find a way to get there. Did you ever buy a certain outfit or a certain car and suddenly see that car outfit everywhere? How many of you ever had that experience? Say, aye. How come that car outfit's everywhere? It always was everywhere, but now you notice it. And the reason is because there's a part of your brain called the reticular activating system, the RAS. That part of your brain determines what you notice and what you don't notice. Your brain spends most of its time trying to make sure you don't notice because you'll go crazy if you notice everything. But when you decide what's most important to you, your brain goes after it. Everyone I know who's successful builds what I call an RPM plan. An RPM is built on the metaphor that the way to get from where you are to where do you want to go to the fastest is you got to build power, like in a car, RPMs. And the R stands for they know the result they're after. They know what they want precisely. If you don't know exactly what you want, or you let yourself get beyond that into something general, you're not going to achieve it. Clarity is power. You got to know the specific result you're after. What do you want? If you can't answer that question right now in your personal life, in your body, in your relationships, in your finances, in your spirituality, then you're not going to be as fulfilled as you want to be. Today we're going to have you answer one of those questions at least. The second part of it, you got to know P, why you're doing it. Because you know what? You may get a big goal. Somebody says, I want to make $1 billion. I want to bring peace to the earth. Why? Because as soon as you come up with a goal, all the obstacles show up. And unless you've got enough emotional drive to break through that, you're never going to discover what it really takes. So you got to get yourself past that. And the way to get past that is have enough reasons. Reasons come first, answers come second. This man did not know what he wanted. He did not have enough reasons. To ask intelligently, you got to ask specifically. To ask intelligently, you got to know why you want it, have enough drive to make it happen, enough juice to make it happen. If you don't have enough reasons, you will not make it happen. And the M is, what is your massive action plan? What is going to get you to actually fall through? Because the first plan's not going to work and the second plan's going to work, so you better have enough plans that if the first two don't work, you still got something else. Otherwise, you're going to be having excuses why it didn't work. So asking intelligently requires that. So if we're going to be extraordinary in our results, we've got to be in an extraordinary state. We've got to know what we want and we've got to go use it.